Welcome to the third and last video on recursive grep. We're just doing the finishing touches of the program, really. These two buttons and the copyright version message that I always put at the end of programs that are of any complexity. And to a large extent, this keeps track of the version, so when I run it, I know what version I'm running. And if it's an out-of-date version, I know to put a new version out there. But this button and the version copyright is pretty trivial, but this button, View Search Log, is actually kind of cool and involves ProcessInfo and process class, and also the Notepad invoked as a separate process. So that's actually pretty exciting information, although it doesn't really require a lot of code. So if we double click on this button, you see the button View Search Log click event handler, and we essentially instantiate a ProcessStartInfo data structure, really, and it's called StartInfo. I say equals new ProcessStartInfo, and we pass it a parameter that's actually the exe program we want to run in this process. And then we just set the window style equal to process window style.normal. Quite often here I have a startinfo.working directory if I'm going to be working in a directory that's not the current directory, but I'm using the current directory, so I can skip that. And then we have the startinfo.arguments and the search log, which is what gets executed on by the executable program. And then in order to invoke the whole thing, we create a new process using process.start and the startinfo data structure passed as a parameter. And to look at the new constant strings, the Notepad app is actually just a full path to where the Notepad exe is, and this gets passed to the initial instantiation of the ProcessStartInfo data structure, passed to the constructor, so to speak. And then the search log is the same search log we use for writing to the search log with the save to file function. And then I also have a constant string that's the current grep R version, recursive grep version, which I'm up to 07. I've actually been saving several versions along the way. The trick is, anytime you do code, you don't want to have to save a new version, even if it's not that much, because that way if you screw up the next version, you can always just go back and start over. It gives you a built-in do-over. And then in the clear button, this is completely trivial, really. We just do an init search, which we also call whenever we press the search button, and that sets all the number of exceptions variables to 0 and clears out the results text box. And then we also want to clear out the search text box and reset the search directory back to the default, which is C:/, and then set the focus to the search substring. And then in the FormLoad event, what we do is create a new copy line based on, mainly the only changing information is the grep R version. This other is all static information that we put into a variable called copy line. And in order to get that nice copyright character, we create a character called copy character, which is char 169, which is that C with a circle around it. So we basically concatenate the name of the program, the version, and the string we have at the top of the program that has the version number, and then this copyright character, and then the date and my name. That's my actual name, although I usually go by Doug rather than Robert. That's my middle name. And then we set the label that we have at the bottom of the screen text equal to this copyright line, and it's a small font, so it's not too obtrusive and so on. Well, if we compile and run this, and say I just put some junk in here, and same thing in the directory, and then we go down and hit the clear button. You can't really see it happen, but it did. This just goes back to being empty, and this just goes back to being the default string. And of course we have our label that has the copyright information and our nice copyright character embedded in it. And then if we press on View Search Log, you see the log that we've been appending things to pops up, and we can look at our previous searches to see where we found things we looked at previously. I guess I only have one thing in it. It'd be a lot more impressive if I had several things in here. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It sort of finishes up the finishing touches, and especially the thing that brings up the Notepad so you can look at the search log is extremely useful and constantly used by me. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a lot, and I appreciate it if you'd subscribe.